Welcome to Growing Faith Resources. I'm Katie, a certified Christian educator, and I'm here to help you figure out what's going to work best for your congregation. Today we're going to be talking about Advent resources for 2022. So let's check them out. So before we dive into the resources, let's just quickly talk about Advent. This is a season that leads up to Christmas and Christmastide. It's the 4 Sundays preceding Christmas, and this season, kind of finishes with Christmas Day, but, Christmastide continues until Epiphany, which is January 6th. And so the resources I'm talking about today you can use during Advent, but also I'll be talking about some resources that you can use into Epiphany as well. Advent is a great time of year for your congregation to try something new. Because it is a shorter period of time, if you would like to experiment with something, this is one of the best times to do it. So all of the resources that I'm going to mention are going to be linked into the description below, so you'll be able to check out a specific resource if you're really interested in it. First up, I want to talk about some of our curriculum resources. The first one I want to talk about is actually 2 resources from our newest curriculum, Follow Me, Biblical Practices for Faithful Living. We have 2 different units in this curriculum that are available for Advent. One of them is Go Tell and the other one is Hope. If you're not familiar with Follow Me, you can check out the video that I've done all about the series and how it works, but the gist of it is you study the Bible through faith practices, things that Jesus did or taught his disciples and all of us really to do. So it's about living out your faith, not just thinking about it. So Go Tell focuses on the shepherd's experience of Jesus' birth and how all of us can share this message of good news with the entire world. Our Hope unit explores what it means to wait in faith. Hope is something that keeps us going even when we can't see our way, and Jesus' birth was such a great hope to the entire world. And there's a lot of ways your congregation could use Follow Me during the Advent season. You could just do a sort of a congregation-wide thing where you focus on it in worship and maybe with some special events. Or you could pick up the entire range of Follow Me for all different ages and stages and talk about it not only in your congregational life and in your worship, but also look at it in depth every single week of Advent using the different ages and stages. Next up, we have Growing in God's Love, a Story Bible curriculum, the Birth of Jesus unit. This is a children's curriculum based on the Growing in God's Love, a Story Bible. And the unit, The Birth of Jesus, has 5 different sessions, and they cover the stories from Jesus' birth on through Epiphany. So this is a great unit to use with children if you specifically want to focus on that. Finally, a study for adults, Being Reformed, Illuminating Advent, is actually a 6-week study. So all 6 weeks, you can start in Advent and it'll take you all the way up through the Epiphany Sunday. And you study the traditional themes of Advent. So that would be hope, love, joy, peace. And as I said, it carries on talking about Epiphany as well. So those are some great curriculum options that'll be linked below for you to check out. So now I want to highlight a couple of group studies. So these are things you could do congregation-wide and also with some small groups. Each of these revolve around a book, so you would want your congregation to kind of read through this as you're looking through this. Each of these group study books that I'm going to recommend have digital resource guides. So you can download these separate from the book, and they have things like sermon prep ideas, different images you can use, maybe like PowerPoints, or things you can put like in your bulletin or newsletter, or however you communicate with your congregation what you're doing for the season. There's also questions and study guides for the small group times that I mentioned. So First up is Holy Disruption. This is a really unique book that explores Advent using the Gospel of Mark. Yes, you heard me, the Gospel of Mark, which doesn't have a traditional birth narrative. So why would we explore this book during Advent? Well, you'd have to read it to find out, but it's such a great opportunity, and I hope you'll check out the mystery of Mark in the Advent season. The next book I want to talk about is Advent in Plain Sight. This is a fantastic book that looks at 10 everyday objects that are part of the birth narrative that we also have in our everyday life, and it encourages you to look at those different objects as you encounter them throughout your day and remember the story of the birth narrative. So it's a great study to do with all ages of your congregation. Finally, A Weary World is the last one that I want to mention. So we are in a very unique time in our society, and not everyone is going to find this season of Advent and Christmas a joyful celebration. Many of us are missing loved ones. Many of us have had a hard time of it. So A Weary World actually explores the Advent season kind of through the eyes of grief. And it's a really great option if you're looking for a more reflective and contemplative Advent. Additionally, this resource in the downloadable digital guides has a longest night service liturgy that you can use if you'd like to do that. I hope these are intriguing to you as you consider what would be best for your congregation. In our final section, I want to talk about children's picture books. We have two that I really want to share with you. The first, which is Night of His Birth. This is the story of Jesus' birth, but it's told through the eyes of Mary, and it's by Katherine Paterson. It's a fantastic book to read and think about and be reflective of how wonderful Jesus was as a baby, and a great gift for your congregation during this Advent season. The second book I want to talk about is Home by Another Way. This is actually an Epiphany story, and it's by Barbara Brown Taylor. And it's a great story talking about the wise men and their journey to Jesus. So I hope you'll think about this story. It's great for like a children's message, especially like on Epiphany Sunday or, the Sunday following Epiphany. I hope this has given you a lot of really great ideas about the different resources that are available for your congregation this upcoming Advent season. If you'd like to learn more about any of these, as I said, I have links in the description below. Additionally, I'm going to link our Advent Digital Resources Guide. This has everything I've talked about and more. So if there's something that didn't quite strike your fancy in what I talked about today, definitely check out the guide, because that has every Advent piece that we offer. And with some description and more information about each one. And anything you see in there is clickable, so you can click on images and it'll take you directly to where you can find more information on our website, which is another great place you can visit if you're looking for our resources, which is www.pcusastore.com. If you like this channel and you want to support the work that we do, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. So finally, I want to say thank you for watching, and God be with you.